Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. This is my honest opinions to the Utah Jazz. And I just want to preface this by saying I might get a little harsh, but that's just because I care. The Utah Jazz have been one of the most important things in my whole life, and I'm ready to spill it all out on the table. I want to give you what my perspective has been being a Utah Jazz fan. First, let me give you some history about me being a Utah Jazz fan. I was introduced by my father way back when I was just a little kid, probably 5 or 6, and he would show me the Utah Jazz team. And we lived in Utah, and that was, that was our team, our local team. I grew up watching the Jazz as much as possible on TV, and I would even get this mini Nerf board basketball thing on the door just to play basketball, the same plays as the Utah Jazz were playing. And I'd imagine myself stealing and being even a part of the team. And growing up and watching those Jazz games with my mom, my dad, and whoever else came was one of my favorite parts of living my life. And it has been for a long time. Oh, like knowing the Jazz could win any game, even if they couldn't, in my mind they could, was one of my favorite aspects of being a Utah Jazz fan. Just this culture of winning and never giving up. And throughout the history, even when Gordon Hayward left, I knew the Utah Jazz were either in deep trouble or we were going to figure this out. And we figured it out with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. They were a staple. And they did have some problems and fights, even through COVID and all that. But we were the number one team in the West one season. And I was so proud to be a Jazz fan. I would talk to everyone about being a Jazz fan. Even before that, I just loved being a Jazz fan. And being a Jazz fan meant more than just loving basketball. It was like this whole, you know, culture, this whole life behind it. And I just was so thankful that I could be a part of that. And then ever since, you know, we went to the playoffs, got knocked out first round. Playoffs, knocked out, knocked out, knocked out. We haven't ever won a championship, which in my eyes is horrible. For where we were at, we were so close. We had Boyan, we had Rudy, Mitchell, we had Conley, Jordan Clarkson. We had a stellar team. I was very thankful for that. But we didn't execute. And that was a big problem. The team eventually got sold to Ryan Smith and his whole family. Goodbye were the Millers and hello were the Smiths days. They kept the team together for one more year and then boom, it happened. Dismantling of the team. It might have been actually 2 years, but I don't even care. Like it just happened. To us Jazz fans, people were shocked. We knew Rudy and Mitchell had major problems via COVID and throughout the season, and people were wanting to actually trade Mitchell or Gobert. And in the summer, we traded Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Boom. In my mind, I thought, holy crap, the Jazz are tanking. And, with it being a Victor Wembanyama next year's draft, that would have been perfect. Except for in my mind, I knew tanking sucks. I hate seeing my favorite team get beaten and beaten and beaten. It's just the worst feeling in the world, especially since it's such a deep part of me. And I hate living through those experiences. Rudy gets traded. Donovan gets traded. Boyan gets traded. We are left with Jordan Clarkson, Conley, and everyone else. That was holy moly. I didn't know what to think. We were doomed. Then we got off to this next season. Started out 10-3. We were killing it. We were enjoying the passes, the communication. It's like we had chemistry all of a sudden. Number one in the West for the beginning, 13 games of the season. and then we crumbled and failed. Because this was supposed to be our tanking season, right? Utah Jazz fans were okay with the 2-year tank, right? Let's just get two really solid championship players and get back on it. Now, I feel like the championship players aren't there. We tanked throughout the season, tanked, but we got an all-star in Lauri Markkanen, which helped our all-star appearance, which I did go to the game. It was super fun, super expensive. I could only buy one ticket for myself. I wish I could have brought my mom, but or my best friend, and I just couldn't. It was expensive, and I get it. It's an all-star game. Not many people are going to go. But when I attended the all-star game, almost half of the upper bowl was completely empty and barren. I was kind of like impressed. Like, this is the all-star game. How do we not have everyone here? I thought this would be jammed packed, struggling to even sit down in my seat, sometimes like a regular game was last year when we were killing it. But now it seems like the enthusiasm was down. Even though we had all the star players in the world, it wasn't as much as I had originally hoped for. It was still great, and honestly, I will remember that experience for the rest of my life. The All-Star game was once in a lifetime, and I'm glad I went. But back to the Utah Jazz. I knew that we got some key players this term that we actually drafted. Keontae George, Taylor Hendricks, Bryce Sensabaugh. And I was super excited this last season for them to play. They played. We didn't really get much of Hendricks until halfway through the season. Keontae George was literally a rookie. I can't expect all rookies to be like Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell was killer season 1. Keontae George did have a slow start. And I am excited to see his season 2 this year. And I'm also excited for Taylor Hendricks. Out of those two, Keontae George might just have a future. Taylor Hendricks is either going to be boom or bust for me, or a really good bench player. Bryce Sensabaugh, I don't really see much in the future. I'll be honest with that. This year, we did draft someone special, Cody Williams. Now, I am excited. That's my most excited pick. I don't know much about him. I know he's a Williams brother, and I feel like that family is going to be absolute killers in this league. His brother on the OKC Thunder is just phenomenal, and I'm happy that they're having success with him. Now, for the future of the Utah Jazz. I don't know if we're going to get good this season. We might be tanking again. Capture the flag. But do I really want to capture the flag moment when we could have been in the playoffs, when I'm just so desperate, and I mean desperate for an actual win? And not like wins throughout the season. I just want us to try to win. I want us to get back to the old days where I feel like we can win any game. I'm a little sad for the fact that things aren't what they used to be. Now, your average Jazz fan is like not horrible. It's been okay experience going to the arena. They did update the Delta Center for that All-Star game I talked about earlier, but the arena food is okay. It's not the best. It's super expensive. The only thing about the new arena system that I do like is the scan to the phone. You scan it, you order it. There's no long lines, even though there is a huge queue now. It's different, I guess. I don't know. But it feels like it. It feels quicker, but not really. I don't know. Either work for me, but I've just decided that the in-stadium experience is okay. It's not what it used to be because the crowd isn't. It's different. You can just tell being there with Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, champion aspirations. But now it's like, can we even win this game? Or if we're in the lead, it feels like, oh my gosh, they just blew a 20-point lead and we're going to lose this. That's kind of what the Utah Jazz feel like right now. I don't want to be able to be worried about winning a game. I want to be 75% certain that we'll at least win. Better than this 25% we might have a chance. I want the Utah Jazz to be great, and no exceptions. If this season doesn't end, I'm going to want some real hard answers from Ryan Smith. I love the Utah Jazz, and I want the Utah Jazz to be great. But they need to be better. I need the Jazz to want to be better. They've got good stepping stones. Will Hardy seems like an okay head coach. He doesn't seem too outstanding. I mean, his defensive structures and games and systems with everything seem to be all right. But from your average Jazz experience, and that's what I am, I don't know if he's a championship head coach. With Quinn Snyder, I felt, man, this guy could lead us. I also felt like I believed in people. Who am I believing in? Lauri Markkanen? If I believe in him, I don't believe the people around him can take us to the promised land, take us to that championship. I need more out of this Utah Jazz team club. Whether we're full tanking, I want full transparency. I want everything. I want greatness. And to start with greatness, the Utah Jazz need someone for the players, for the people to even focus on. Thank you. And this is my thoughts on the Utah Jazz. We want better. So be better.